Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our next live stream. I'll be your producer for this session. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters to answer live. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand right here on the Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our speakers for today. Thank you for joining.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session today. I'm super excited. My name is Ari Levigny. I'm a senior learning advocate with GitHub. I've done other sessions about agentic workflows, using agent orchestration, the CLI, but this one is something special, I think. And I'm really happy to see people joining from all over the world, from Brazil, South Africa. That's awesome. Thank you for taking the time in your time zone to join us. I really love the GitHub Copilot app. I can't tell you how much this has increased my workflow and my kind of speed to delivering changes in multiple different repos. I don't know if folks have been using it. If you have, like, shout out in the comments if you've been using it and you like it, and maybe a brief thing of what you're using it for. But I've kind of even gravitated away from the VS Code IDE that I use pretty frequently to use the Copilot app specifically. I'm going to go into some slides, but I don't want this to be about slides. I want to give time for us to walk through a GitHub Copilot exercise. And maybe we can put that on the screen just to share with folks as I walk through. This GitHub Copilot exercise, GitHub skills exercise that we have is going to show us how to use the app and just some of the features. But I want to walk through some of those and just talk about them a bit. This is really an agent native workspace. It lends itself to use agents in different sessions, so you can have parallel sessions working together. Hello from Chile. And you have like a My Work section where you can see all of the bugs or issues you have open and maybe what you want to work on next or what you want to assign to an agent to go off and start building. Maybe you're doing some planning with it, or maybe you want an interactive flow, or maybe you want to put on autopilot. And we'll talk about those features as well. A cool thing called quick chat. So sometimes I'm just kind of brainstorming an idea, and the best way for me to do it is I don't even have a repo yet. I don't have a kind of landing for where I want that code to be. And the quick chats is just a great way to do that. That's actually how I built this GitHub Copilot exercise, was through a quick chat and using some agent skills and agents that I'll talk about as we get there. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. And then there's automations. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on automations, but I will show you where it lives and kind of some of the predefined examples that it already gives you, like token optimization or to-do lists or things like that. I actually want to do a special session just on automations because I'm still actually diving deeper into that. If we could also put that GitHub skills exercise and post that for the audience just so they have it, that would be fantastic. I kind of just mentioned this too. And this is the different types of dialing of autonomy. Thank you so much. Sometimes when we're starting out, we want that kind of interactive flow, and maybe we're just like asking questions to get a feel of what we want to do or kind of nail down a really good topic that we want to build software. Or maybe it's just a visual diagram or something like that. And interactive is good for that. If we maybe at that point, we want to go to the next phase of planning. What I love about that is it puts a little bit more effort away from the human, more on the AI, which it's great at planning and giving you options. What I like about the plan mode too, it gives you kind of follow-up questions for you to answer and kind of really nail down what you want to do. When I was building this, I went into plan mode and I started there building my outline for my GitHub skills exercise in the app. And then I outputted an outline, and then I took that outline and used it as a plan. Yeah, there's our GitHub skills exercise. So this is what we're going to be walking through today. And you can take this, copy it over to your handle. This is all open source. Obviously, you need a Copilot license. There is free license, which gives you a certain amount of credits and tokens to use. So that is available. And then there's the autopilot mode, where you kind of let just the agent go crazy. I don't want to say crazy, but really follow that plan that you've already developed. And I'm going to show that in the exercise. We actually have one of those steps is building the plan and then handing it off to Copilot and an agent to go ahead and build it. For all of these, in this case, I am using the default agent that comes built in. Obviously, the plan is really a planning agent. But when you're in interactive or autopilot, you're kind of just handing that off to the agent to do that. Another thing that I always say in all of my sessions, when especially talking about Copilot, is context. Context is so important. And we can harness that through our custom instructions, whether it's just in the top level Copilot instructions, or maybe you have instructions that really target specific files in your project and directories. And you can do that, as you can see, kind of in a very high level example here. But this is the kind of the context hierarchy when you are building your instructions of what they will look like. And we are actually going to use that here in our example too. We're going to fill in some more instructions. It comes, I did do some good boilerplate for this exercise, so you don't have to do everything from scratch, but it shows you the key points of what you can benefit from using the GitHub Copilot app. MCPs, Model Context Protocol, so important. The GitHub MCP server is built in with the app. It's available to you. I will also show some features that are not part of the exercise, so we can go kind of off the rails a little bit, and you can see that. In this exercise, actually, I am leveraging an MCP server. I'm going to leverage the Playwright MCP to test out our app. But those are MCP servers that I use pretty frequently: Context 7, the GitHub MCP server, and Playwright. As you can see, there's like a documentation hub here, shows an example there. Or maybe your company, and as a user, you have your own MCP server you developed, and you can add that into the app. What I love about the app is it just creates all of MCP agent skills, custom agents are all first-class citizens. And you can also combine kind of what we're going to talk about is like more of an enterprise type of plugin that has all of those types of features. A thing that I'm going to talk about too, that is a feature in the app, is this concept of an agent merge. I think we all know when we're creating PRs, there's CI failures, there's feedback to address, whether it's from Copilot or another peer, but that becomes a lot of toil to go through and constantly go back, where the agent merge really helps you along with that, with taking care of some of those CI failures, or maybe you have some feedback that needs to be taken accounted for and then made an update with another commit. And that's where the agent merge comes in handy. It automates that mechanical finish line, autonomously shepherds your pull requests through the tedious rebases, CI test fixes, all the stuff that I just kind of said, and then gets it ready to merge into the main branch. It won't merge it without your say so, but at least gets you basically that 80% or 90% of the way. So then you can focus on maybe other ideas or features or things that you want to add while it's working on that for you. Again, I mentioned agent skills. I'll show a brief example of that. I did not incorporate it into that GitHub skills exercise. I'm going to probably make a follow-up one that shows how to maybe create them and use them right there in the app. But the GitHub skills builder, I created a plugin that has agent skills and custom agents that are bundled together in this plugin that you can install in the app. And then that's actually how I created this exercise, was leveraging those. And those skills are very particular to what you may be focused on. There's tons of agent skills out there. Originally came from Anthropic and Claude. That's where the agent skills originated from. But we can incorporate these into the app, the CLI. All of these agent skills and custom agents can be used in the VS Code IDE, in the CLI, and obviously the app as well. But they become really great tools to really hone in on the objective that you're trying to achieve. In this case, I was building a Copilot, a GitHub skills exercise, and I needed certain things like our template or our exercise toolkit and some of the consistency we have in our exercises to make sure that it followed along those lines. And instead of just using the default agent, that allows me to really get there faster and keep the consistency of what I'm creating, that it comes out the same way as our other GitHub skills exercises. This is the enterprise plugins that I was talking about. And that's what I created. I created a GH skills builder plugin. Right now, it's actually, that is available right out of the box with the app. And I'll show you what I mean by that. You can also go to the source code if you wanted to, but when you install the app, there's a marketplace for plugins called Awesome Copilot, which is a community open source repository that holds plugins, hooks, and the hooks are really part of those like webhooks of when you want agents to do certain things and act and trigger. And then specialized agents and agent skills are a part of that as well. And they kind of all come together in this kind of bundle. And that's what I created for that. And I'll show you what I mean by that when we get into the app. The canvas is I think one of the coolest features of the app. It's something that doesn't exist in any other surface, whether it's the CLI, the VS Code. It's just a really great way to kind of look at your apps or do some planning. And we're going to do that as part of the exercise. And it's hosted directly inside the sessions. And you can serve that bidirectional shared memory. So it has those, all of the context of what you've been working on and what you've been talking about in a repo to maybe create a visualization. And maybe we'll do that here. And you can actually get to that really easily by doing /create-canvas. And we'll play around with that too outside of the exercise. Hopefully we have time for that. And it just allows you to have that kind of look and feel of what your app may look like, or maybe you want to do a roadmap planning. I don't know. We'll see what we get, what we do when we get into it. But there's also some built-in canvases as well. I actually built a CodeSpace canvas because I wanted to integrate CodeSpaces. I'm still kind of working and tweaking how I want that to work in the app, so I didn't want to show that just yet. But that's an example of something that you can do inside make a canvas. There's browser canvas extensions, there's terminal, there's a markdown editor, files, and things like that. And we'll browse through that as we look at the app. And that's the end of my presentation. So this is the exercise, which was already linked and shown on the screen. I'm going to just briefly bring up the app. Here's what it looks like. I have some projects and repos here. You can set up, as local repositories from your file system, or maybe you want a GitHub repository and give it the owner and repo, or maybe you just have a URL. You could also start a canvas, and you can do one from, here's the built-in ones. There's a PowerPoint, Excel, and Word because I have the WorkIQ plugin installed, or in skills installed. And here's the GitHub CodeSpace one that I was working on. This is mine that I built. Again, we're showing like, here's work. So here's an example of what I did already, my latest work. If I wanted to go back and just see like bugs that I'm working on or things that I have to get to, you can filter just like you kind of would within github.com, and you were looking at your issues or PRs and et cetera. You can search for things. And here's the automation tab where, here's some things that you could cost tips for saving on your token usage cost. Maybe you want to do a repo audit. You want to change log or issue triage. A lot of options here. Here's some, some of the skills and stuff that I've added in here, and I could build new automations using those as well. Like I said, I haven't dove extremely deep into automations, but that's my next place to go. And I know this will probably evolve. I could see actions being integrated in here as automations as well. So that's kind of why I don't want to dive too deep, because I'm sure there'll be some changes as we go. So that being said, like, this is an example of my exercise, but let's switch back. With all our GitHub skills exercises, you just do a copy. I am going to, call it this skills. It's available. That name repo hasn't been taken, and it's in my handle. And I'll create the repository. And what I'm going to do too is awesome Copilot. Yeah. If you're interested, like I mentioned, the awesome Copilot that comes built into the app, you could go to this link as well. It's an open source link, and you can browse around what's available for plugins, hooks, workflows, things like that, agent skills as well. And if we look here, if we went into the settings, you can also tweak your visuals. You could change the theme. You can enable sound. I changed my sounds up a little bit. You can really customize it. Cassidy from DevRel and GitHub, she did a really good coverage of how you can really, customize your GitHub Copilot app if you want to spend time on that. And you could do streamer mode, things like that. But the plugin stuff that I was talking about, I have some marketplaces that exist today, like the Anthropic Agent Skills. I have something for our internal GitHub that was developed for us for the revenue team, and Copilot plugins. And then here's the ones, and here's my skills builder, which I installed here. It's revved, and you can find that on that website that I just shared with you as well. And if I wanted to go to skills, so this has, kind of tells, you could upgrade the plugins. We could see the MCP servers I have installed, what I have that's, on this device, plugins built in, things like that. And then skills. So for example, I was talking about the skills builder. I can see all of the, this helps me create an outline. It helps bootstrap the skills using our template. Then you can have a review, which I used a lot throughout when I was creating this, to create the skill, and then publishing it to make it live for users to take advantage of. So that's kind of the layout of where you can dive a little bit deeper into customizing your agentic development. And here's the place to do it, whether it's skills, plugins. You can also get different model providers. So if you wanted to add a provider, you could do that. You could also bring your own model as well with an API key as well. So now at this point, we created we created the exercise. Say we copied the exercise. If we do a refresh here, we're all set. See how that switched from this copy exercise, and there's some magic, some actions that run in the background that allow us to get to the exercise. This exercise here does start in the browser because it kind of needs to, because I talk about installing the app, and kind of gives descriptions of the different sessions, browser, canvas, terminal canvas, file editors, and things like that. And then how to install it. I installed obviously mine on a Mac. You may have, and this kind of shows that that screenshot, but you can see other places you can, and other platforms you can install the app on. There's a link in there to do that. I tried to provide as much help and links as possible, so you don't have to leave and go searching. And we're going to add this repository, which I have set up directly into the app, so I can start working on this exercise. So I'll go here and I'll say repository by remote URL. I'm going to use my main account, and I'm going to clone that. And I have a new session here. I also kind of want to, instead of going back and forth from the browser to my app, I really kind of want to see that exercise issue that I have. So if we look here, right, this is the issue in the repo, and we should be seeing something like this. So let's go there and do that. I do actually, you could open up any issue in this repo. Obviously, I've done other runs that probably has some stale information in there. And instead of you could actually tell the agent to go off and start working on the exercise and do it for you. I've actually did a run through of doing, that's the auto one that I have here, where it actually was walking through the entire exercise and doing it for me. So that's something that I learned that the app can do for you. And I'm probably going to make a video on that as well. But here's the issue that we have, but I want to really kind of start a new session of it. I'm going to kill this one. I don't really want that draft around. But if you can see, this has the entire issue right here. So I don't have to be back in the Chrome browser that I had open before. And I can start to walk through, you know, the exercise here. So we're at activity 1, and we've done all of these steps. But now we did a new session. And what I want to do is I want to create an issue for our application of what we're going to create. So if we look at this, and I paste it right here, and draft a GitHub issue and create it in this repository. The title is going to build the bookmark app, describe an Astro app that saves each bookmark as its original URL and the locally generated short slug, and bookmarks are persisted in the browser. So I'm going to go off and let the agent go and create that for me. I don't need to go write that up. I have obviously the brief natural language of what that description is. I could add more there if I want to make it even more complex. I could do that. And it's created the issue for us. In fact, if I look and I was to the build a bookmark should be there. I wonder if that's a stale one, but we'll see if it actually did the right thing, because what we should see is that our actions running in the background is going to let us know that that was created successfully. Issue created, yeah. So it is there. Yep. So it let us know that it created that new issue. It opened not a walkthrough issue, because the main exercise issue is our walkthrough issue. So it wanted to differentiate that. The title mentions the bookmarks. And this is basically checking that we adhered to what was in the exercise and making sure. So we have that action looking at the work that we did. At this point, we want to maybe change our Copilot instructions of what we're going to create. And so we do have some instructions in the repo. And if you wanted to, you can see, oh, I don't know why, I guess I closed it. We can see the whole repo here too with the files. So we have the issue open. We have a terminal if we need it. We don't have any changes yet because we haven't modified anything. But you can see all the files. And now we're at the point where we want to create an adjustment to our instructions. So what we're going to tell, the agent is that we want to update the instructions. We want persistent. Persistent uses browser local storage, and browser code runs behind a client load boundary. So it's kind of very obviously basic, but that was the point of, like, I just want to show you the features of the app, not really show you like I'm developing this full formed application that will probably be a follow-on, more advanced exercise that I create. But it shows you the functionality of the app. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new session. The reason why I'm also starting a new session is I don't want to be in interactive mode. I want to actually switch to plan mode. I can also show you, like, we have all the tools. It's not asking me. I could also do, some of the always ask or assisted as well. But I'm going to let it, use all use of tools. I'm in plan mode. I'm going to paste this prompt in here that wants to create my adjustment to my Copilot instructions. And then we can go off and let's see what kind of plan it comes up with. I think the other cool thing in the app is, as you build a plan, you can look at that plan in the sidebar. You can refine it. You can add more to it. Whatever needs to be done. It's not a finalized plan. It's your plan. So you can always go back and make changes and updates to it. Also, if there's any questions as this rolls through and you want to know more, hopefully I can answer those for you too. So feel free, in kind of that, silence that as things build and work, I'm happy to answer those. So here it's describing what the plan summary is, the explicit rules that we're saying. And at this point, I could go and exit the plan, and I'll provide my own prompt myself with what the plan's there, and I can do that. I could also maybe make another suggestion to the plan. But I'm going to actually let Autopilot, in this case, I want to show that feature to you, and it's part of the exercise of what that does. So it's going to go off and take the plan that we approved, and we can now open it that it generated for us. It's very basic, obviously, but you can see what it's doing here as it implements the plan. It's also just like as if you were in your IDE, or you were in github.com and you were doing this when you do like a diff or a PR. It's the same kind of concept here, and here it updated it for us. It made a plan. Here's the changes that it's proposing, which it has not committed yet. And this is what it's proposing. So all the stuff about the persistent storage. So we had this placeholder here for our to-do that we then replaced with, we actually wanted to add for the persistent storage for the browser locally. We can now decide to create a draft PR if we want to create a PR, or use the agent merge feature that I talked about. I'm going to use the agent merge. That's actually what the exercise instructs you to do. But if you wanted to create a PR and do it a different way, you can do that. We're not really, at the end of the day, at the checks for these next two steps are really checking for the merging of your PR. So it's not like if you did something a little different here, decided to create your own or draft one, that's okay. As long as the end result is you've merged in your change, then that's all that's expected of you. So we're going to go off. It's going to work through, inspecting, looking at everything, and taking us the rest of the way there with our PR, pushing to a branch, all the kind of mundane things that I think as developers, we're like, I wish it would just do this. That's what the agent merge does for you, and really focuses you more on the code. Obviously, you're always allowed to look at the diff here and see if there's changes you want to make, and you can prompt at that point to make those changes. We are in autopilot mode here, so would go off and just do that. But you could go back to interact mode if you wanted to at this point. So now we have our changes, our plan's complete. Our PR has been created, so it has a nice description of what that is. You could also open this up, and if you wanted to, you could open it up in a browser. So if we wanted to open it up here, we could look at it in the browser if we wanted to. And now we're at the point where we can merge it. In the case of my exercise, I just like, and again, you can go back to the main exercise again. That's right here in the app. So you don't have to go to a browser, and just go to where you are in what section. So obviously we passed one. We made our changes here. We did plan mode. We prompted, we let autopilot roll through. We did our agent merge. We got our pull request, and just like it shows here, and we walk through, you can see that there, you could see the plan, the changes, and the PR that was created. So I kind of have a little detail here, so you don't have to it's a little bit lengthy. So you can just open and toggle it if you want to see and use specifics, which is what I just showed you anyway. And at this point, we're ready to merge the PR. So I'll come back here and I'll just say, like copy paste. You could also type merge PR, but should be pretty straightforward. And you could see here it switched to merge. The agent took care of that for us. We were happy with the results. I mean, that change is pretty basic, not a lot to add, but very, very important to add those to our Copilot instructions so it knows what to follow when we do subsequent changes like we're going to do in this next step. Let's see if we got there. We should have passed. Fingers crossed. Demo gods are with me. Yeah, we passed two. And it just checks to make sure our instructions were defined for the browser persistence. Seeded the to-do placeholder was replaced with the content we wanted in that section. And now we can build and open and merge a pull request. I'll let you guys take this offline too to read more of the theory, but there's more information of, why we're doing certain things, what each step is about, and which activity is doing what. It really, this also kind of states that you need, to complete step 2 first to get here, because we need that, those custom instructions added accordingly. And then we're going to start a new session, and we're going to open up this issue that was created from step 1 that we did. So I'll go and do number 2. I'll tab, and then I can actually copy and paste. What's the only part that I don't like about this, it scrolls all the way back up, but that's okay. We'll just pull it down. The same kind of is true when we're doing it in the browser. But let's come down to 3. This prompt is pretty lengthy, but it's a really good, I had a really basic one, but I found it to not incorporate some of the features and things that I wanted. So at this point now I have this, and feel free to read through this prompt, but it has a lot of information. Really, at this point, our models can handle this much of information in a prompt and know what to do with it. It has enough of tokens available to handle that. So I'm also gonna stay in interactive mode with the prompt, and I also want to make sure that I'm closing that issue 2 that we've opened here, and make sure that the PR addresses that issue, just like you would in normal your software development lifecycle. Is you have an issue open, you attach a PR, mentions that issue, and then once the PR is closed, then the issue should also get closed accordingly. So it's going to go off and build this awesome app for us. Very complicated app that we have here, but I plan to do a follow-on that will be more complicated, more advanced, and more probably based on like a real use case for a real app that's more comprehensive and has a lot more features to it. And I just wanted really to show in this of how the GitHub Copilot app works, how you can use it in very basic, but the same software principles still apply as if you were in your IDE, you were in the CLI, or whatever service you rather use. That still applies here because you're still creating software, and it's just a different way to do it. I find it much easier to do it here in this environment. Again, these are those quick chats. This is actually where I did a lot of back and forth on my exercise here. You can see it's resuming the session, but what I use different models and things like that. And I used this custom agent that was part of the GitHub Skills Builder plugin. And I called out some skills when I was doing stuff too. If folks aren't also familiar with the Rubber Duck agent, that is a great agent to use if you want to review any of your software projects or give you food for thought on maybe some gaps or things you haven't thought about that are blind spots for you when you're creating it. That's also a great agent to use. If you just do rubber-duck, and you can have it review your, I'm pretty sure it's a skill. Sorry, an agent. I don't think it's a skill. So it's not going to run our test. That's okay. But we can look at the changes that it made, just like we did before. So we can see the sections and what it created. Obviously, I had some placeholder. Well, this is just for the example, but I had some stuff in the Bookmarks Astro app already, but it's replacing that with what we asked it for from the prompt. So we could get that. And at this point, if we were happy with it, we could merge this. This is also tells us that it is ready to merge. But there's another kind of option looking agent merge here. And it will tell you that it addresses the reviews, fix CI failures, resolve any conflicts. And if we wanted to, we could just merge the pull request. So I'll check that too. But again, you don't have to check that. You could let it go through those and then review it again, or maybe wait for some other folks to also peer review it before you move ahead. But I think that's a nice feature to have. In this case, I will do the agent merge. I'm kind of going a little off script from the exercise, but I think that's okay. Oh, I guess it went and did it. Excuse me. I'm a little bit of cold. And now I guess we can, thought it would have just done it for us. Let's open the PR. Oh, it did get merged just by us checking that. I didn't realize I clicked it that fast, so that's good to know. Usually I don't click that. Excuse me. I'll mute myself for 1 second while I cough. All right. So it's in progress. Post next step. It says it's merged. Checks are running. Check status. Let's go back and see what our exercise tells us. Looks like, yeah, we did pass. Let's make sure that's the case. Let's see our nice work. So we created a pull request, was merged into main. It closed the linked issue that we had open, issue number 2 that we created from step 1. Our bookmarks feature persists to storage, and the merged app is still builds on main, which is obviously good. We want to make sure the app builds. And now we're ready to move on to step 4. This is where we're going to use the Playwright MCP server. Again, I put references in here too in the exercise, just so you can find documentation if you have further questions or want to dig a little deeper, like on the Playwright MCP server, configuring MCP servers in the Copilot app if you wanted to configure other ones. The GitHub MCP server is already built in. And then obviously getting started with the app, which goes through our documentation. And there's really some good examples in there. So if you do want to dig into the app even further than what I'm showing you here, by all means, please do that. I think it's good links to follow and kind of read up on. So now we're going to use actually the terminal canvas. So right here in our, I'm going to open it actually where we implemented everything. And I'm going to open up that terminal canvas for us. It's going to have my path. It's really kind of like a container that's running and has your code, everything in your code from, especially with this change that we just did, and has like a little cool name at the end of it. This curly waddle. So it has my name in curly waddle. And as if you were to open up like these other terminal canvases here, I'm pretty sure they're going to be different names, but let's just double check that and make sure I'm not telling you something that's inaccurate. It's completely different than what we had here. I wonder if I'm kind of digging a little bit, but this shouldn't take too much time. I just wanted to actually inspect what the different terminals in the different sessions, what they show. So name these, which is pretty cool. And they're different environments, but let's also, I did add in here at the very beginning, just to kind of make sure I don't leave this out, is installing, which a lot of people have Node.js installed. There's directions and links to installing it in case you don't, but that is a requirement for this. That's where I was maybe playing with using a code space instead, so everything can be inside the code space. But I really thought the code space was overkill and really pulling away from what the app is trying to do. If we were building this locally, we would have those things installed on our system anyway. And really, we're just installing Node.js. We're not building some other things on top of it. So really, it's just Node.js that we need to build the app so we could run it here locally. And then we're going to run it. So hopefully this installs, and then we'll run that development environment. And then we'll open up a browser canvas with that, and we'll do a brief, quick example of that. See, we're just doing a chime check. We're about 4:39, so we're good, I think, on time. So we're running the Astro server here on this port. And once we get the link back, we should be good to go. And then I can actually, you could prompt to open up the canvas, the browser canvas, if you want, by all means. I'm just going to actually click this and it's going to open it right here for me. And here's our little bookmark app, very basic. not too beautiful, but enough that it shows us what it is. And I'm going to add our skills site to it. And I'm going to say /skills. I could include, as when we asked to create it, you put HTTPS in front of it, but I don't want to have to waste my time with that. And then it gives us this nice little short Mona. This is the Mona's bookmark manager. If anyone that knows, that's our mascot for GitHub. So you could copy this and you could clear it and do all sorts of things like that. I'm going to leave the server running here. And if I go back to my exercise, and the issue that we had open and go to the very bottom. What I want to do now is we've kind of tested it out manually. We're running the server. We know that works. Again, I have a little note here. The Playwright server will normally, the MCP server will open up like your browser, whatever browser you're using, to kind of test it out and run through it. And I'll drag the window open when it does that. But if you wanted that to be headless, you could add this to the Playwright, which is, if we look at the files, I did it again. I hit the X, my bad. If we look at the files here and we go into, I really wish it would show, it seems to ignore the .github directory here. But let me see. Let me go to terminal and do, ls, actually, let me just go to .github. Oops. And the MCP server should be in here. Yeah, there it is. So if you wanted to add headless here to the arguments, you could do that, and then it wouldn't pop anything up. So, but that's something that I wish it would show that in the files here. I'm not sure why it just basically masks the .github directory. Maybe that's just the settings that. Oh, there we go. Boom. That's why. So I learned something new today as well, that you can show hidden files. So if we wanted to look at that here, we could just open it up in the little side editor. So good to know. Just learned something new. So your hidden files are there. I guess it wants to mask them by default. I don't know about you, but when I'm working in my IDE or even on github.com, I like to see all the files. So I wish that was a default and you could actually hide the hidden files, but I'll take that up with our engineers as a complaint, I guess. So now we have that set. And if we go back to our issue, which we had open, I have to go to the very bottom. Very bottom. And we're going to have the Playwright basically open it up and run a test for us on adding this bookmark, making sure that it works. And then what we're going to do is, I could have had ourselves manually take that image and put it up there, but I don't want to do that. I want the agent to do the heavy lifting for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm telling it to basically show proof that this worked and to put the image there and make sure that that exists. And then our check is going to look for that file. Obviously, it's not going to scrutinize the image itself, but as long as it's been uploaded and merged, or actually committed and pushed to the main branch, then we will have passed that check for ourselves. But let's see what happens now. If there's any questions too, I'm happy to answer them. I think we're still good on time. It's about 4:43. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Type them in the comments, and hopefully I can either give you the answer directly or get you to the proper place to find the answer or find it for you. Or maybe even answer it later in the comments if I can't find out today in our session. So it's now going through installing Python. Interesting. I actually did it with Python instead of using our MCP server, what it looks like to me. Let me see if I can find my MCP server open. Oh, I guess it is opening up a browser. That sound also means that it finished working. So I was in another window, and that sound, if hopefully everyone heard that. Post any questions. All right. Yeah, thank you. So save the full screenshot, submission, committed it, and push it directly to main. So hopefully we were able to do that. The changes should show that our image was added. Oh, that's the bookmark. Let's see. So we go to files, and we go to submission. There's our file, and there's a screenshot of the Playwright server showing that. I'm surprised actually it didn't pop it up, but that's okay. I kind of put that as a caution that it may pop up your browser and it may walk through that. Also, you may want to check that I know on my Mac, it worked many times without doing this, but permissions of like screenshotting from the app seemed to be another security toggle that I had to switch. So there's another thing that I learned as well when I was walking through this exercise for the 100th time. I liked how it is shown in the Copilot CLI. Could you show us how to select the current model and details like input, output, cache read, and cache write? I can show you the models if you want to get off of, this is great. It shows you kind of your credits and stuff that you're using. You could use voice to do stuff. But here's all the models I have available to me. And they kind of describe them, what they are. Previous versions of models too are available. The different modes, like I showed before, and tool permissions. No usage limit on plan mode. The session itself is using this many credits. You can view your plan. You can add local files and folders if you wanted to. Hopefully that answers your question. And I'm not sure. I liked how it is shown in the Copilot CLI. I'm not sure what you mean by that, or do you mean in the terminal, or maybe you could elaborate what you mean by that. Obviously, you could open the Copilot CLI here if you wanted to. So, if I wanted a new session, I could say open the Copilot CLI in the terminal canvas. Let's see if it does that. Might as well try it. Yeah, I mean, use whatever model you like. I think that's preference, right? Or maybe I think if you're looking for cost savings, auto is the best way to go. But obviously, like when I was doing my task, I ended up using Opus 4.8. I mean, I love that model. I do. Looks like it's opening the window. I don't know if it didn't. It opened up the canvas for us. It labeled it. But let's see if I can just type. Oops. There we go. It should actually be able to run the CLI here, and we can. So if you decided you also wanted the CLI kind of hand in hand what you're doing in the app, it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Honestly, when I was using the CLI, I was using it in VS Code, my editor there. So again, whatever your personal preference is there. But I believe we did this. Let's just check where we are. So we are getting close to time, and I don't want to miss out on. Oops. All right. Let's see. Sorry for all the scrolling. So now what I'm going to do in this section actually is add a canvas for planning a roadmap for more features for my app. So I will. I'm going to start a new. We're going to start a new session here. And then I'm going to basically give it a short title. I want like a table. I want some emojis in there, and then it's going to go off and create that for me. just want to rename a branch. There we go. It's like, where's the roadmap? So obviously it made some changes, which is the roadmap itself, but it also like just shows me right here a nice, neat little canvas extension, my roadmap that I'm planning out with planned features, known bug fixes, or things that I want to be, that I want to fix that I don't want users to run into, whether it's the duplicate slugs or the empty URL validation, things like that. So then I can do that. And if we come back to our issue, which of course is all the way at the top, see if I can. Oh my God. Here we go. Let's open up our issue again. Sorry about that. I'll do it the hard way. Got to be a better way to do that. I probably just need the command to get to the end. So what I want now is I'm going to create the GitHub issues from the top 2 items in the roadmap and give each a clear title and short body description. So I'll go back to where I started that out here with the roadmap. And it gives you a nice little table with emojis and stuff like that of like features versus bugs, which is what we asked for when we prompted. And then I'm going to create the issues from the roadmap, and that should give us a clear title and short body describing feature or bug. So here's our 2 issues, bookmark search and filtering and bookmark editing. And I decided to do those features. If we were to go, so those were added. If we come back to our browser, and we were just to do a refresh, we should see those 2 issues there with us. Yep. And here they are for the bookmark editing and the filtering. And if we come to our issue again, our main issue, which is also open here, I go to the end. So we did the bookmark is on the default branch. The roadmap is listed as at least 3 items. So I don't know why we failed that. Oh, maybe because it was still working. Interesting. Something for me to fix in the exercise, I guess. I'm not sure why. It should be on the default branch. That's what the check should be, but I'll make those changes. In fact, what I could do right now is roadmap is on the default branch. Roadmap lists at least 3 items. It should work with what we had there. Let me go back here. We do have at least 3 items, maybe because it's not at the top, and maybe our check is kind of sensitive to that. Let's see. Fix these failures in the exercise. Since we have the roadmap and bullets, and we want it on the main branch in the root. Oh, you know what? That's my fault. I totally missed a step that I should have followed in the directions. I did not do the agent merge of our roadmap. So it created the issues, but I didn't follow it. So that's my bad. It's actually not that's me moving too fast. That's okay. Oops. Are we doing that? Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Awesome. I think that will be okay. Let's see if I could just delete all this out of here. Merge PR. That should fix our problem. And what we should see too, because we did this here, is our roadmap is in the directory. It's in the main branch. So that's why that failed, or I just missed that step. That's my bad. Sorry about that. About using the, yeah, that's honestly, I was using the CLI in VS Code, actually in the terminal, and I love that because then I had like kind of the best of everything, where I had my code, I had my chat if I wanted to use it, but I had the CLI right there in the main window. And now I can do that right here in the app. So if I do want to go back to the CLI and do something, and obviously you can leverage your agent skills and custom agents directly there from the CLI because you're using the same environment. Why not use it there? So, yeah, thanks for that. I think that's really useful for folks. All right, now let's go back and check. Hopefully, oh, we passed the test. That's great. Let's see where we are now with it all. Here, I thought I had a bug, but the bug was me not putting in the information. So this should finish up our work, and we should get a notification that we finished it all. Waiting. Let me see if that, like I said, in the background of this is that there's some actions running that are doing this. It says it finished it, but I'm waiting for the post review comment. For some reason, we interesting. So that might be a bug for me of why we didn't get the post. But the idea is when all's said and done, when you're done with the exercise, you should get a nice review and it should close the issue for you. I'll have to look at why. Maybe it's because of what I did with the run. So what I could do actually in the app is I wonder actually if I just rerun that. If that's, I don't know if that will work though, because we I wonder if it, I think it's basically casing, you know, when you want to rerun it. So it reran here, but let's rerun it again. Let's see if we get on that. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I know we got like 3 minutes left. I think we actually did pretty good on time overall. Check step work. Check step work. Yeah, I want to go that route. I think that's better. So I think because of what happened with the roadmap, that's why that went that way. But I think I want to maybe tweak that in my exercise. So that's a homework assignment for me to do. Looks like it's going to do the post review now. So we'll get what we wanted. And I wanted to kind of show you that. If we could post the links to the YouTube playlist that I shared with you, that would be awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. So if you want to look, there's some great content that GitHub puts out there. This is from Geek Trainer Christopher Harrison, and he put together some great content on kind of beginner Copilot app things that you can do. And I think that will, you know, they're going to constantly keep adding to those. So if you want to follow along, I think it's worthwhile going to that. And we did finish this exercise. And if we go to the bottom, we get a nice little review that talks about what we did in each of the steps here in this exercise, and the full idea, all that stuff. Another cool thing that maybe I got maybe a minute, if I got 1 minute to show, I'm going to do that create canvas that I told you about. So if we come, I'm going to open up a new session. And I'm going to say, create canvas, render a colorful interactive diagram of, I guess I wrote that wrong. Or maybe I just copy, yeah, of the code in this project. You know, let me just add, make as many layers to show the full app. I'll add something to that. I didn't do that before. Let's see what it comes up with. So I'm using that slash command there. Obviously, too, if you want to see any of slash commands here, just like you would in the CLI. So if you're used to using the CLI, those would live here as well. I wanted only the session only, so I'm going to go and do that. Sorry, it's kind of getting confusing here. And go back to the app. Too many windows. Here we go. So it's creating this extension, which that's what the canvas is. And you can install a canvas from a repo, from a gist. You can do it from many different ways. But let's see what it comes up with here on the side. Actually, I'm going to leave this closed and let it do it for me. But that's really our last part of today that I wanted to kind of just, show you the possible besides what was structured here in the exercise that I created, and gives you a great sense of like sky's the limit. I honestly, I created a canvas. I created a video game in a canvas for repo. We had a game we did at Microsoft Build where you could play on your phone, you could play on a browser, but I wanted to create it in a canvas. And I was able to do that and play the game inside of the canvas. And it shows you kind of like you can really prototype your work if you want, or maybe you want to create a roadmap or something like that, like we did earlier. But, we have all of these like shows you the visitor, the bookmarks, and kind of, how it all works together. Experience, you could pick a module. So you could like hone in on those modules, and it's very interactive in that sense. Maybe you want to go to here, or you want to go to all the layers back up. But we just created a quick canvas that shows kind of a visual of our entire application. Granted, it's a very simple application, but we did create that nonetheless. So I really enjoyed delivering this for you all. I hope you got a lot out of it. Obviously, you can see there's so much you can do in the Copilot app. And as time goes on, if you want to add to the comments on things you've created, I'd love to, take a look at your repos and hear about your projects. I think we're in a great age of building things with agentic development. And I honestly think the Copilot app is like your key to really having the most impact in really creating some awesome things that would take you probably longer in other environments. So good luck with using it. Enjoy it. And again, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day and evening, or wherever you are. Thank you so much.
This session is a part of a series. To register for future shows and watch past episodes on demand, you can follow the link on the screen or in the chat. We're always looking